Hey everyone, Kelly J. Vaughn here again. So getting back into this whole NAR settlement because it is a lot and taking everything into consideration. I don't believe that this is something that you just say, oh, okay, well, the worst has come or there won't be any more surprises. Because if you had said that this was going to happen 5 years ago, or if I had said this was going to happen, people would have said, oh, you're crazy. Never. NAR is always going to be, it always has been. Realtors will always belong to NAR. No one's going to quit them. If we ever ran into litigation over something like this, NAR would have our backs. But here we are. And I think it's interesting. I think it's very ironic that you have NAR, the National Association of Realtors, who has lobbyists and should have like the top lawyers who were actually not able to litigate their way out of a lawsuit like this, because this has been going on for years and it's just always been the way that business is done. However, while it's supposed to be a class action lawsuit to help sellers, and they're paying too much in commission fees and they shouldn't be paying the buyer agent. And I get it, but what's going to happen now more than ever is where a buyer agent would not have been worried about showing a property because they knew that they were going to get paid and the amount, was already fixed in there. And pretty much in the DMV, it's just a mandatory thing. Like you're not going anywhere where they're paying, ridiculous, like 1% or something like that, or even zero. Usually in the DMV area, it's going to be like 2.5% to 3% for the buyer agent commission. So now the first thing that a buyer agent is going to do, if I have a listing, the first question is going to be, hey, is your seller paying a commission? And what is it? Because if they know that their buyer cannot pay them what they're worth, then are they going to show the property? Probably not. I mean, how is that going to work? So it would be, and the listing agents, they're going to have that conversation with the seller, like, hey, you might not want to pay a certain percentage and you may not want to give the buyer agent a certain amount or whatever, but how is your house? Who's going to write the contract on your house? Now, some people have said, well, the buyer will probably just go directly to the listing agent. Not having representation on the other end, how is that going to work out? First thing that a buyer agent is going to ask, hey, what's the commission? Or is your seller willing to negotiate commission? Because the buyer agent is going to have to get paid somewhere. And we all know that most buyers do not have that 2.5% to 3% because they just weren't used to having to come up with that money, to having to save that money. Interesting now that people are pulling out of NAR, because then one of the questions that I asked is, well, how are these contracts going to get written? Because most of the contracts that we're using, they're for realtors. And keep in mind too, it's also ironic that this was supposed to help these home sellers. This is a class action lawsuit. But in the end, these sellers really aren't getting any money back, because after all is settled, they're going to get paid, the lawyers are going to get paid. How much are the sellers really going to get back out of this lawsuit? And this is why I say that this is something bigger. You always have to look what's happening behind the scenes, because no one went through all of this time and effort, hours of litigation and preparation and millions of dollars being paid out and court fees and all of this just to remove a little box in the MLS that offers buyer compensations. But what about the brokerages who are not requiring their agents to be realtors anymore? Yes, there is a difference between a real estate agent and a realtor. A realtor only pays dues to NAR, and that's how you get your realtor designation. It's that simple. I'm a realtor because I'm paying NAR, a membership fee. So this would be me. But I can call myself either one, either or, real estate agent or realtor. So when you're looking through all of this, NAR is not admitting to any wrongdoing, and they're settling out because they do not want this to go any further. And once again, too, these are just my opinions. I'm just rambling. I'm not saying this on behalf of me or my broker or any of that. This is just me, in my opinion of what I'm reading and how I think this is going to change the market. So when you look into this, there are brokers that are pulling out of NAR. And what they're saying is that they're basically saying that they don't see what value NAR has anymore. And by the way, can you imagine what the boardroom meetings were leading up to this point? How many of these brokerages thought, okay, NAR, you're going to have our backs, right? Because it's not like we were doing anything wrong. This was just the way of doing business that we've been doing for years. So you're going to have our backs, right? And then when NAR can't even defend itself, and they couldn't defend all of these brokerages, and these brokerages are having to pay out millions of dollars in settlements because they don't want this to go any further. It's like, stop the bleeding now. Okay, let's just settle. Not helping us. So you know what? No value anymore. We're pulling out. This is Redfin saying that they are not going to be a part of NAR. They're not going to require their agents to be a part of NAR. Remax as well, where they're saying that they're settling and they're not going to require their brokers to be a part of NAR or the Code of Ethics. So Remax LLC will not require you to be members of National Association of Realtors or follow NAR's Code of Ethics or MLS handbook. Brokerages will be free to determine whether NAR membership works best for them and their agents, and will support the choice either way. So what does that mean? And when we're writing contracts, and you see right here, copyright 2023, Maryland Realtors, for use by realtors, not for use by real estate agent realtors. This is trademarked. These are contracts that you would normally use, and several countries' largest real estate brokerages, including Coldwell Banker, Century 21, Sotheby's, International Realty, Remax, are severing their allegiance to NAR. And if that's the case, and if they don't have to follow the Code of Ethics, how is that going to play into everything? Then what is going to be their ethical measuring stick when it comes to doing business? You know, are they going to just let settlement officers, title companies just do the contracts? And like I said, this isn't a big deal now, especially in the DMV, and none of this has actually taken place yet because we still have to have the court sign off on this and approve it. So this hasn't happened yet, but where is this leading? What's it leading up to? Because no one would have ever thought that any of these brokerages would be doing this. We never thought that we would be here now, but we are. And I don't think that this is just going to be a little nip tuck. I think that this is going to be more of a snowball issue to come down the pipeline later on. And it already has had a huge impact on the real estate industry. And I think that we're just going to have to deal with this as it comes up. You've never run into an issue where you're dealing with a agent on the other end who's not a part of NAR, who has a different set of contracts than you. But anyway, of course, always bringing you the latest, and I will keep you updated. There's more to come with this because I have tons more questions and things come up every time I have a conversation with someone about this, then we always have more questions. That's it for now. Bye.